You know, it's almost like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. But why did I like this device so much at the first time I've reviewed it, or at least the first generation? The D-pad is absolutely great. I love this. It's similar to the PlayStation 4 controller. And when you're going to be looking at it, and of course, yeah, the touch itself, that was another thing. You have a very nice travel, a very nice feedback, and it was very responsive for fighting games and beat 'em ups and shmups. Select start, and of course the AVXY with the wicked test. And I can tell you this feels very nice. The buttons are not too small, don't have like a wiggle to it, and they have a very nice travel, and two joysticks for the people who just want to play with the joysticks, and even have the click underneath. At the side we're finding volume, the volume control, yes, I almost said it wrong, the volume control over here. At the back we're finding the reset and the on and off switch. So turning it on, here will give you the LED indication, also when you're going to be charging it. And the G button. The G is going to be mapped for the menu and a headphone jack out. And what's interesting that the headphone jack out is actually being on the right side. That is something you don't see very often. At the bottom nothing, and at the top we're finding two USB-C ports. And one thing is one of those, let's say, very cool features that when you're going to be booting it up, you will see how beautiful this display is. I think the camera doesn't even do it justice, and that's one of those key features, and absolutely unbelievable that we've reached the point that we can find these very cheap devices with very good screens in the inside. At the middle of the device we're finding only one speaker. At first I was kind of bummed out that there was only one speaker, because normally you're having like an absolutely overall great experience for the audio when you're having two speakers mostly on the bottom or at the front. But how is it when it comes to, let's say, the display itself and the menu? So what I really love about this device in general is that this thing is very easy to use. I think if you want to pick something up, you don't want to tinker, this can be something of a very interesting option. But first let's clean up the screen, because I made it a little bit filthy, because this thing is a fingerprint nightmare. It's like a freaking magnet, oh boy. The same I can say for the back buttons. The back buttons are differently configured. You can just see that they have a different, like say, height. And the nice thing about this is it's going to be like very easy to, let's say, place your fingers in and to use them. And that's one of the things that I find quite pleasant about it. And when you're just pushing them in, you can feel that it has like a very nice, let's say, feedback. But how about the software itself? Because this is one of the newest improvements. The layout is different. Now we do have like this very nice hyperspin wheel and different many devices that we can play, like Sega Saturn and Dreamcast. A lot of stuff that we only seen before on game boxes. But that's kind of cool, so I'm really curious and wondering how overall experience is going to be. Where I already know that the PlayStation Portable N64 is going to be a hit or miss, because that is absolutely the limit for the device of this, like say Caliber. But besides that, I think it's going to be interesting to see. So let's start off with some basic gaming like PC Engine. Going into the menu itself, here we're finding the old school menu, more like the Pandora's box look, with a nice screenshot. So here you can have the option to search. And the search is going to be general. So let's say we're going to be searching for something with street. Here you can just see that we're getting every single system with street in it. But there is no indication actually what it is when it comes to the platform. So that's quite unfortunate. We also can make a favorite list by pressing the Y. And in this case we can use the favorite. But so far I see the favorite over here. The favorite list where we can find all our games. So that's actually how it works. It's quite easy. And I think that's one of the big sides of the positive sides about this. But what you need to take consideration, pressing select start, there is nothing you can do when it comes to the menu or the software. So if you want to start tweaking, no, that is not going to be working at all. Every single time you're going to be booting up a game, it will ask you if you want to start a new game or start an auto save. The quick load, quick save you've made, you also will be shown in here, so you can just very easily start in the game. But for this time, I'm going to be loading up a game itself. So just let's wait a little bit. There we go. Pressing start doesn't work. We have the side button over here, the G button. And then we're going to be finding the save state slot. This control is kind of weird. Normally you're only going to be needing that for the PlayStation, restart, and indeed we're having the cheats. So it's kind of cool. You can even implement the cheats if you want to. And that's it. But let's get into the game and let's see how it actually works. Oh boy, the audio quality is quite good with this. And I'm not going to be expecting any problems when it comes to, let's say, the old school stuff. But if you're just searching in Handheld to playing these old games, yep, it's absolutely great. Oh crap, but we can also use the joystick or the D-pad, both have been configured correctly. That was the second time. There we go. But also when it comes to the audio, you can be controlling this fairly easy with the physical buttons. And this is absolutely an overall great, let's say, fun experience. But if you just want to play some old school games, like particularly when it comes to the handheld games, yep, this is going to be a lot of fun. But some old school Game Gear games that run absolutely great. However, when you're looking at the menu, there are so many different games to play when it comes to handhelds. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's move on to some newer generation like the Sega Dreamcast. And yeah, that is one of those hidden devices, like hidden gem devices in my opinion, with many cool games. But the reason I just wanted to see the intro, you can see in here that it actually stutters. So emulation performance is not going to be perfect. And I'm just going to be honest, you cannot really expect like superb like overall emulation performance with such a cheap device like this. It's absolutely a miracle they can actually play this. Now let's get into some gaming. No, you can just hear that it runs really slow. So another thing I was really wondering, like what happens going to be pressing the G button or the menu. So we don't have a quick load, quick save, it just automatically goes to this menu itself or the Dreamcast menu. So that's a little bit of a downside that not every single of the say devices has an option. So what is kind of cool, so we do have the option to press the G over here, and here we're having all kinds of stuff that we can change out. So let's say you want to have a different emulator, you want the control settings being swapped out. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, I am completely messing this up. Restore to default. Okay, go back. UI settings, then game collection settings. You can just basically like go into the selection and just go around like messing around, like filtering everything out if you don't want to have anything like say in your list. So say you don't like the Naomi or the Dreamcast, you can just filter that out. And if you're going to be clicking it like I did, you're going to be having the loading screen and waiting to be everything be adjusted. But this device can maybe the ultimate PlayStation portable. And the reason why, because first of all, like the resolution of the screen itself. The D-pad is so responsive, I can just really enjoy like some old school games. The one thing they should like stop doing is removing the soundtrack. So if you're going to be putting the game on here, implement it also with the, let's say, full soundtracks. That would be so cool. It will take up a lot of space. But you can make yourself like a dedicated PlayStation emulator. There's no way of upscaling, so that is a little bit of a downside maybe. The XU10 is absolutely a crazy retro gaming beast. We do have like some limitations, but that has to do with the money you're paying for it. However, reached the point with these devices that we do have like crazy good deals with devices that have like overall good performance and overall good quality. But it depends on what you want to play, of course, in the first place. So Sega Saturn, Dreamcast is like pushing this thing to the limit, like PlayStation Portable. But however that, I think it's still a pretty good deal. Wait for the flash sales. When it comes to AliExpress, for example, here you can find some of these like say XU10 devices for really cheap. Thank you all for watching. It will be great to see you in the next video.